All right. Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well, and also peace and safety to the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world, that's pushing out this truth with all diligence and putting their lives on the line to do so. My brother Karazai of Great Millstone, Atlanta, back at you again with another lesson. Really inspired by, the elder here in Atlanta, Elder Rataza. He had the class on, having longevity in the truth. Salakia, about having longevity in the truth and the mindset, that, grants you that. And one of the topics, that he touched on was having righteous stubbornness. All right. And, that's, a perfect example on, a mindset that we should have to have longevity in the truth, or have length, and time and years dedicated to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58. And it says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord Yahweh." It says, "For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain." You see, so our labor isn't in vain in Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And he told us to be unmovable. If something is stubborn, it's hard to persuade or to move, from, what it wants to do. I have a bulldog, and they're known for being stubborn, so at certain times, it don't matter, how you put it or what you do towards, my dog, and he's going to do what he wants to do with it, no matter, the consequences, and we understand that here, in Great Millstone. All right, we understand that they're going to persecute us, but what? For righteousness' sake, so that's the example for being, having that righteous stubbornness, man. Okay, I'm going to reread this again. "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord Yahweh, for as much as ye know that your labor is in the Lord, that your labor is not vain in the Lord." All right, and from there, I'm gonna go to Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 16 and 17. As I got it written down. Let me see. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, refrain thy voice from weeping, and thine eyes from tears, for thy work shall be rewarded, saith the Lord Yahweh, and they shall come again from the land of the enemy. And there is hope in thine end, saith the Lord, that thy children shall come again to thine own border." All right, so this is an example of, why we should have that righteous stubbornness, because the Lord, is going to grant us, the kingdom, the kingdom of heaven, to where we have our own land, is like it said, our own borders. All right. So we, Salakia, so the scriptures say, refrain thy voice from weeping and thine eyes from tears, because we have something to hope for. All right. Like I said in 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, that our labor is not in vain. All right. So it's a reward laid up in the heavens for, the elect, and Lord willing, we be a part of that number, man. All right. So from there, I'm going to go to Colossians chapter 2 and verse 6, which is a classic. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 6. And it says, As ye have therefore received Yahushua Mashiach the Lord, so ye walk in him, rooted and built up in him. You see? Rooted, we're supposed to be rooted in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You know, going along with being unmovable. Okay? That's being stubborn, man. You know? Because that's what the Lord wants out of us, man. You know? Because, and you know, that's what, you know, our trials and tribulations, you know, the temptations, you know, that we go through, you know, that's the Lord, you know, trying our hearts, our spirits, you know, to see, hey, what are you going to do in this situation if I throw this at you? All right. Are you going to, you know, cop out? You know, are you going to, you know, dismiss everything that you once stood for? You know, because it's guys that has done that, man, that have forsaken, you know, the truth, or forsaken Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for the trials and tribulations, man. All right, but then they go back into the world is in a worse state than what they was before. Okay, years of your life just thrown down the drain, man. All right. It says, rooted and built up in him, established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. All right. So in this walk, hey, we're supposed to have a continual growth pattern. You know, always abounding. You know, just like a tree. You know, or plants. You know. If you keep watering them, you know, and treating them with, you know, the correct way, they're going to continue to abound and to grow until they're fruitful. All right. And that's the same with us. You know. So from there, probably go grab this last precept in Romans chapter 14 and verse 5. And I'm going to end off in here. It says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day, every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. So like, let me reread that again. This is Romans chapter 14 and verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. That's right. So the Lord wants us to be fully persuaded, man. You know, fully persuaded in his truth. All right. And that's with the bitterness and the sweet. You know, you have to be fully persuaded. Nobody should be able to, really convince you that this is the truth. You know, you got to look into it for your own self. You know. And with that comes longevity in the truth, because you've actually done the studies, you know, the fact checking, you know, and so on and so forth to show you that starting with our apostles and elders, and this is 100% truth, man. You know, and you would clearly see it if you're a man of the Lord. All right, but those are just some, you know, characteristics of having longevity in the truth. You know, Lord willing, it was edifying. You know, I'm going to go ahead and close up by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakah Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And until next time, Shalom.